Dear children, let us continue with the types of flower. There are three types of flowers based on the symmetry. Based on symmetry, how it can be divided. So, first is, it is called as the actinomorphic flower. Second is called as psychomorphic, and third is called as asymmetric. So, three types of symmetry. It is actinomorphic or radial symmetry, zygomorphic or bilateral symmetry, and asymmetric. That means it is an irregular flower. It cannot be divided into two equal halves. So let us see in detail. What is an actinomorphic flower? The flower can be divided into two equal radial halves in any radial plane passing through the center. If through any radial plane, whichever be the radial plane, we can see the radial plane, whichever be the radial plane which is passing through the center, the flower can be divided into two equal halves. And such a flower is having a radial symmetry, or the other name for it is actinomorphic. They are actinomorphic flower. Examples are the mustard flower, the datura, the chili. All these are actinomorphic. Then what do you mean by the second type, that is zygomorphic flower? If the flower can be divided into two similar equal halves only in one particular vertical plane. See, this is the radial plane by which the flower can be divided into two equal halves. Whereas in the case of radial symmetry, any plane passing through the center can divide it into two equal halves. Whereas in the case of zygomorphic, only a single plane, the vertical plane, can divide the flower into two equal halves. Such a flower is called as, is said to have a bilateral symmetry, and the flower is said to be zygomorphic. Example is pea, gulmohar, cassia, beans. All these are zygomorphic flowers. Whereas the third type of the symmetry is irregular or asymmetric. That means the flower cannot be divided into two equal halves by any vertical plane passing through the center. Whatever be the vertical plane, any radial plane passing through the center cannot divide the flower into two equal halves, and such flower is said to an irregular symmetry, and they are said to be asymmetric flower. Example is canna. Example is a canna flower, which is asymmetric. Based on the number of floral appendages which is present in the flower, there are different types of flowers. If the number of floral appendages are multiples of 3 or multiples of 3, they are called as trimerous. Whereas 4 appendages or multiples of 4, they are called as tetramerous. And floral appendages are multiples of 5, they are called as pentamerous. So based on the number of floral appendages, they can be trimerous, tetramerous, or pentamerous. Next type of flower is based on the position of calyx, corolla, and rhizome in respect to the ovary on the thalamus. Based on the position of the first three words, that is calyx, corolla, and the rhizome in respect to the ovary is called, there are three types of flowers. They are hypogonus, perigynous, and epigynous. What is a hypogonus flower? The gynoecium occupies the highest position, or we can see that the ovary or the female reproductive part, that is the gynoecium, which is having the basal swollen part, is called as the ovary. This basal swollen part is the ovary, and the ovary holds a superior position. And the other floral parts, that is the calyx, the corolla, and the rhizome, they are situated below it. When the ovary or the gynoecium occupies the superior position and the rest of the floral parts arise from below the ovary, the flower is said to be hypogonous. And a hypogonous flower is seen in mustard, China rose. China rose means it's nothing but a hibiscus flower, and brinjal. However, a perigynous flower, the gynoecium is situated in the center, and the other floral parts are located on the rim of the thalamus. We can see that the gynoecium is located in the center, and from the rim of the thalamus, that is the outer boundary of the thalamus, the other floral parts, that is calyx, corolla, and the rhizome, arises almost at the same level. And in this case, the ovary is said to be half inferior, because the ovary as well as the other floral parts are arising at the same level. But the ovary occupies the central position. And this type of ovary is said to be half inferior, and the flower is said to be perigynous. And a perigynous flower is seen in plums, rose, and peach. And the last type of flower, based on the position of ovary and the other floral parts, it is called as an epigynous flower. Here the margin of the thalamus grows upwards. This is the thalamus, and it is growing upwards, and it is covering the whole ovary. And completely it is covering the ovary, and the thalamus gets fused with the wall of the ovary, and the other floral parts arises from above the ovary. And in such case the ovary is inferior. Why? It is occupying the below position, and the other floral parts are arising from above it. And such a flower is said to be epigynous, and the ovary is said to be inferior. And such flower is seen in guava, cucumber, sunflower. Okay, so that's about the types of flower based on the position of the floral parts. Dear children, we learnt about the different types of flowers: unisexual, bisexual, bracteate and abracteate. We learnt about the types of flowers based on the position of the floral parts with respect to ovary. They are hypogynous, perigynous, and epigynous. Based on the number of floral appendages, they can be trimerous, tetramerous, or pentamerous. And based on their symmetry, they can be actinomorphic, zygomorphic, and asymmetric. Thank you.